Hello. First off, I just saw a chat box right here, and I'm super excited for Timothy and his daughter who got her first gobbler this Sunday. How fun is that? We love seeing that stuff. So we're so happy that you're able to take some of the information that we have and apply it. So it's awesome. Well, I wanted to introduce myself. If we haven't all been here by now 2 other times, and my name's Casey Harriet. I am the R3 coordinator for NWTF and ODWC. And what R3 stands for is recruitment, retention, reactivation. So basically I create programs and initiatives that increase hunting participation across the state. And with me, I have my husband, Lincoln County Game Warden, Jacob Harriet. Here, actually get in there. There you go. And he is going to be our lawman on deck tonight. He's going to go over the regulations, changes, and everything that you need to be legal in the field. And we also have 2 of our guests, Chad Parkey and Lynn Hagerman, the state board members, and hopefully they'll hang around and help us answer questions at the end. Get a thumbs. Okay, I got a nod. Good deal. All right. Well, without further ado, we want to get started on this. So I'm going to attempt to share this PowerPoint presentation here with some regulations, and Jacob's going to cover those. So give me 1 second. Oh, I'm hitting up here. Okay.
All right, can everybody see that PowerPoint? Yes, no, maybe?
Chad, somebody gonna have to say yes because we can't see you guys.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we have had a lot of big reg changes this year for our turkey population. Already had a few people slip up on it, so we want to make sure that nobody else does. I'll just kind of go through this slide here, and I'll touch on when I get to the newer stuff. I'll kind of let you know what that is and then why exactly it kind of changed. But for starters, it's unlawful to bait turkeys. So baiting is basically putting out anything to attract them, normally grain, but anything used to attract the bird onto your property food-wise is considered bait. So you can't hunt within 100 yards of a bait pile or a feeder or anything like that. You cannot use live decoys, so you can't take your wife's pet turkey out there. That's frowned upon. Cannot use recorded calls either. We've actually had people already do that this year. So like you can't use your cell phone or a Fox Pro or any sort of electronic recorded call. So turkeys go to roost every evening. You cannot shoot them off the roost. So you can't shoot them out of the trees. License requirements, pretty simple for turkeys. You have to have everybody has to have their annual hunting license, a turkey license. It used to be for each bird harvested, but now you can only shoot 1 turkey during the spring season. So you have to have a turkey license for the bird that you're hunting. And then you can get a lifetime, which will cover both your hunting license and your turkey license. And those are $775, or just the hunting is $625. So for the kiddos, youth hunting licenses are required for 16 and 17-year-olds. They're $5. If they're under 16, then they do not have to have a hunting license, but they do have to be with a licensed adult, 18 years or older. And that person has to be able to take immediate control of that gun at any time. And doesn't matter how old they are, you do have to have a turkey license for the bird that you're going after. For your non-residents, you have to have an annual hunting license, $142, and then the turkey license for the bird you're going after. That doesn't change for youth. So field checking, so just like a deer or elk, antelope, anything like that, the first thing you're supposed to do after you harvest your animal, before you take pictures or anything else, you're supposed to put your field tag on there. A field tag can be anything, duct tape, cardboard, as long as you have your customer ID number, date, time of harvest, and your name attached to that animal. We don't care what it is as long as we can read it and it's attached on there securely. And then for turkeys, you have to check them in within 24 hours of harvesting them. And then you'll get a confirmation number from that. You can do that now on your phone. So a lot of people will check them in immediately. So in that case, just attach that confirmation number onto it until you get to your place of final destination.
And if you don't know, the Go Outdoors Oklahoma app is the app we're talking about. I recommend downloading that. That has your sunrise, your sunset, your regulations. You can check in. your birds, your any game harvested, and you can also have your license on there. So instead of having to carry around your card, you can just show it on your phone, which most everybody will have their phone, and sometimes we forget our licenses. So pretty handy app. I suggest everybody.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. So legally, you have to carry your license on your person. So the cell phone counts as that now. So just having your cell phone on you with that app on it, that counts as carrying your license in the field. And it's pretty handy for us in the field. There's actually a barcode that pops up on there. Us game wardens can scan that, and it'll pop up any of the licenses that you have or don't have. But it's pretty handy to have that app. That's how you check everything in. It's basically our website on an app version. So it's pretty handy. So your shooting hours is a 1/2 hour before official sunrise to official sunset. So that's a little bit different than deer. We have to stop at sunset. If you're on public land, that might vary. So double check on that. But for just the general state regulations, it stops at sunset. And that just kind of gives the birds a chance to get on the roost and settle down. And you're not blowing them off the roost. So a tom turkey is any bearded turkey, regardless of sex. So there are bearded hens out there. That's perfectly legal. You just need to leave that beard attached to it until it gets to its place of final destination. You get it checked in. You're not required to wear hunter orange. If you're hunting in an area that lots of people are hunting, I would recommend it, because if you're out there trying to sound like a turkey, other hunters are going to think you're a turkey. Even if you're supposed to be the only one on there, it's pretty often that that's not the case. Usually there's more than one person out there trying to hunt, if they have permission or not. That's where we come in. So turkeys, what colors are their heads? They're very patriotic, red, white, and blue. So you don't want to wear those colors just in case, somebody sneaks on the property or somebody else is hunting. You don't want to be confused with a turkey. Kind of along, getting shot, looking like a turkey. Cover your decoys when you walk in and out of the field. Some of these decoys are super lifelike now. So make sure those are covered up so nobody mistakes that. And then also, after you shoot a bird, be conscious of how you carry that thing out, just to, prevent people from taking a shot at you thinking they got a bird. So legal means of take. Archery equipment is same as for big game license or big game hunting. Shotgun, conventional or muzzleloader. I've never seen anybody using a muzzleloading shotgun. If you are, you're my hero. And you can't use shot bigger than BB, and all other means of take are illegal.
We put page numbers on here, and those page numbers are for these regulations right here. So anything you want to go reference, you should always have these. They're at Walmarts and academies and
anywhere that sells licenses.
Yeah.
Basically. And if you have more questions on that, just ask me towards the end. I don't want to go into all the specifics on the legal means of take, but that's the general rules.
Yeah, like last time, just make sure to put your questions in the chat, and I'll field them after my little presentation.
So youth spring turkey. So the youth guys always get the weekend before actual season. So this year that was the 9th and 10th. We had a lot of youth hunters been able to successfully take a turkey, which is awesome. We love to see that. And you get one bird, and for the youth, it used to be you could shoot 3 birds, but now you can only shoot 1. So with the youth guys, their 1 bird counts for their season. So that's the only bird they get to shoot during the season. The regular spring turkey for everybody else is April 16th through May 16th. That's been a big change. It's been the 6th for as long as I can remember. We did that to kind of help hopefully our goal was to get some hens bred before we go in there and start harassing them, so they can go ahead and start working on raising up some new poults for next year before we go in and take out some of the gobblers. But that's a big change. We've had some people make some mistakes on that, and how that was handled was based off their attitude. So, but that's the big change for the years. April 16th through May 16th, and then it's a 1 tom limit instead of 3, which is also a big difference. It used to be you could shoot 1 or up to 3 birds. Most of the counties were 1 bird counties around my area, but now you can only shoot 1 total across the state. And there's no difference between the Southeast region and the rest of the state. It's all 1 region now.
I know, I just thought it was funny because you even stuttered on saying April 16th and May 16th, because you want to say April 6th and May 6th because it's ingrained in our brains.
But yeah, that's why reading the regs every year comes in handy. But we did that to benefit the turkeys and hopefully get some more reproduction and have them, for the rest of our lives and the rest of the generations in front of us.
This is fall turkey. So
okay.
That was just his little spiel. I have a whole regulation PowerPoint on this for fall and spring, but we're just doing spring right now. Okay, so once again, oh, it looks like Audrey's photo is Tim's background, or like his profile picture, which is really cool to see her turkey right there. Okay, so I am going to share my screen now. And I'll need an audible, okay, I see this, if possible.
I can see it.
Awesome, cool. Okie doke, so what I'm going to discuss is places to go in Oklahoma. We have a lot of public land options, and some of them which you probably don't even know about. So I think we would be remiss not to talk about some of these little hidden gems. Okay, so some of our public land here in Oklahoma, it varies. We have ODWC lands, which are WMAs, which are wildlife management areas, and OLAP, the Oklahoma Land Access Program. Fun fact, I was the technician for that program when in its foundation, or its founding, with Jeff Tibbetts, the biologist. And we're very proud of this program. It has almost probably over 100,000 acres now since its start. So very happy about that. What that is we lease private land for public hunting. And I think I go into that later, so I'm going to hush on that one. Okay, Army Corps of Engineer lands. These are a lot of times in the eastern part of the state, but we do have them, and they're accessible. And then we have U.S. Fish and Wildlife lands and recreation areas, and then some city and state parks. Okay, so to view our wildlife management areas, ODWC's wildlife management areas, this is one way to go about it. You can go to wildlifedepartment.com, where to hunt, scroll to the interactive map, and then you can look at all the WMAs. You can click on them, and some of them will be more detailed than others, but this is actually pretty handy, and there's also an app for it too, and it's called the Explorer app, which I think I'll go into more detail in a little bit. But these are areas that are managed for wildlife by the Department of Wildlife Conservation. You can contact the biologist on duty there, or the warden in the county. Some of them will have PDFs for you to print off, and some will also have special regulations. But in Oklahoma, we have a considerably large size of WMAs and public hunting areas. Okay, so this is the Oklahoma Land Access Program. These are the lands I was just speaking about, and it's where we lease private land for public hunting opportunities. So we lease them for private landowners. It's pretty awesome properties because a lot of times they haven't been in active, like hadn't been hunted, so it's usually prime properties, at least for the first couple of years until someone finds out about it. However, we have in the Northwest, so the Panhandle, we have a ton of properties. And to view these maps, you can go to wildlifedepartment.com, where to hunt, scroll down to the OLAP interactive maps, or you can download this ArcGIS Explorer. And I recommend doing that because we have what I said earlier was WMA maps on there. And then we have our OLAP maps. And what's really cool about those is you can zoom in, you can change on this app, you can change different like views, like base layers. So you can look at topography, you can look at aerials, satellite, all sorts of different things. I'm blanking on them at the moment, but you can also do write-ups and markups. So if you're scouting a property and you see some turkey sign, you can mark it for turkey sign, or you see a tree that looks like a good roost tree, you can mark that on there. It also has drive to directions. So you can put in your Apple Maps or your Google Maps, and it'll take you straight there to the parking areas. So I find this app really handy for that. I personally wouldn't use the website version. I would use this version. And when you download it, you can click continue without signing in, and then it'll have a search bar at the top, and all you have to do is either type ODWC WMA or ODWC OLAP. Sorry, there's a lot of acronyms, but that's how government works. So okay, the Army Corps Engineer lands. This is also, you can view it the same place that I've been telling you to view the other maps. It's at the last point. It is not an interactive map, and it's kind of dated. They have PDFs available for you, which is some people love the PDFs, and it's print offable, so you can view them anytime. You don't have to worry about service or anything. But it says hunting at the All Corps Engineer projects is in accordance with applicable federal and state regulations. So generally these hunting lands are open for public hunting of all legal species, but always call ahead and make sure, check with your warden or some of the core lands, which there will be hunting contacts in these PDFs, and make sure that they reflect our regulations, and sometimes they change. So, and they're area specific occasionally. And also, I'm going to share this PowerPoint in the email so you guys get all these links, since I just typed them right there. You can go in and click on these later, so it'll be a little bit more useful. Okay, and also we have U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service lands. So some of these places are the Ouachita National Forest down in southeast Oklahoma. That is a large chunk of property that we personally have hunted eastern turkeys in and have been successful. And then in the western part of the state, we have Optima, Ouachita, and did I say that right? Is it Ouachita or Ouachita? I don't know. Every time I read that, I say it different. Ouachita, dang it. And Salt Plains National Wildlife Refuge. So these are clickable too. So when I send these to you, they're linked, so you can go view these properties. But for eastern Oklahoma and hunting easterns, you'd find them in the Ouachitas, and then in western Oklahoma, you'd be hunting Rios, and that's where you'd find these national wildlife refuges. And also, and I'm not sure if I made this for a deer conference, but it's very similar, so it has lots of public land options in it. So I just wanted to use this again, but I'm not 100% sure on the Chickasaw National Recreational Area if you can hunt turkeys on that, but do you happen to know? But there is the number right there, and they do have access to deer hunting properties, and so, or deer hunting land. So I would suggest calling them up and seeing if that's something, if turkeys are available as well. Okay, and this is once again not as applicable, but I wanted you guys to know, because most people that are turkey hunters like to deer hunt too. Around the Oklahoma City area, we have a few places that you can hunt that are in the cities, or that are state or city managed. Sorry? Municipalities. There you go. So one of those places is the Arcadia Lake area, and they have a deer harvest management program, and that's something you put into. It's not turkey related, but if you'd be interested, you can read this on the slide when I send it out. Thunderbird, they might have turkeys available there, but once again, I provided all these numbers just to make sure we always check before we go anywhere and assume that we can hunt something. And the West Watkins Reservoir in McLeod. So it's kind of cool that you don't think these are places that are kind of kept secret, because people don't talk about them very often, because it's not, first off, what you'd search. These are actually hard to find on the internet. So here's just some of the areas that around the Oklahoma City area, because that's actually some of the harder places to hunt public land is Oklahoma City. So providing this information for the Oklahoma City area is probably pretty important. Okay, and we also have controlled hunts, and this is something, we have turkey controlled hunts. So they're about to open up now, aren't they? If they haven't.
Yes, you can put in now for your controlled hunts.
Okay, and once again, I had this link right here that you could go to enroll, but there's turkey hunts. So I would suggest you guys, it's $5, and you can go in and you can enroll for deer hunts, elk hunts, turkey hunts, antelope hunts, and that's it. But that would be something you should apply for every time. Another cool thing is ODWC last year created, or basically started, this new system where it's called Point Guard, and it's insurance on entry, helps you remain eligible for future hunts. So if there was something was to come up and you broke your leg or something, you couldn't go on your hunt, then if you purchase this Point Guard insurance, you would be able to not lose the eligibility for later hunts, which if you don't show up, that sometimes will hurt your chances for future hunts. And there's also a preference points only system, which is pretty cool, because last year I was pregnant and I knew that I wasn't going to be going on any hunts fully pregnant, or I guess, yeah.
And she wouldn't let me go on it.
Yeah, I was like, you're not going either. And so we both applied for preference points only, which is pretty cool, because you want preference points build up over time. And that's crucial. You know, you don't want to you don't want to miss out on applying for your preference points just because you know you're going to have something during that time. You want to get those points, so it increases your odds for next time. So hopefully when we put in this time, we might be able to. I think I'm actually going to apply for preference points again this time. You're so welcome. You don't have to, so.
Yay.
Okay, day hunts and outfitters. So this is also another option if you're really, if you don't think that you can get on turkey on your own, or you just don't, if you want to just cut out the scouting and everything else, there's always going to be some outfitters out there. And one of the ones that we like to use is Pofolk Outdoors, and it's because he does affordable hunts for average people. They're not crazy trophy hunts, but he'll get you on a bird or a deer. So his name is Bobby Armstrong, and his number is right there. And then another thing is, if you wanted to just look at guides in Oklahoma, there's a great resource right here called guidefitter.com, and their link is right there. And once again, it'll be clickable, and you can just put in what you're looking for, your location, your area, and it'll show all the outfitters in the area. So if you want to just take just go out on a weekend hunt with these guys, they're more than welcome to. Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit about public land ethics. Since we're going to be on public land, we want to make sure that that we're treating our land accordingly, because if we don't, then we're going to lose it. So according to Aldo Leopold, regarded as the father of wildlife management, ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one else is watching, even when doing the wrong thing is legal. I love that. So in our world, some of the things we talk about for ethical hunting is the 4 C's, and it's a responsibility of the hunter to be careful, courteous, considerate, and capable, which those speak for themselves. I'm not going to go into this. This is a lot of information. Just try to be careful with for yourself. Never lose control. Practice the 4 C's, always make sure that you're in shape before hunting. And to the resource, we want to show respect to the resource. Always learn as much as possible about the wildlife. Clean and store harvested game to maximize the consumption. Use all that bird when you shoot it. Shoot within effective range, and report hunting violations. All those things are really, really important. And if you see trash on some of these places, pick it up, especially on OLAP properties, because these are private landowners that they open their land for hunting. And if they see shotgun shells or trash or gut piles, that really upsets them. And so everybody kind of work together, because if we overuse a resource like this, then we're going to lose it. And another thing I wanted to mention is asking for permission. Asking for permission it's less and less applicable nowadays, it seems like, because most landowners have figured out that they can lease their land out. But it never hurts to ask. If you know someone around there that has turkey on their property or deer on their property, it's always nice to go up there, introduce yourself, write letters, make an impression, provide references, ask what you can do to help out around there if you're really invested, and absolutely show respect. And one thing that I didn't add when I remember I was making this PowerPoint last year, was it always helps if you take a cute kid with you. They never say no to that. All right, so there's that. I'm going to stop sharing now. Oh, Bobby helped me get my first deer last December. How cool.
Awesome.
Okay, so I am going to open this up for questions now. We kind of breezed through that pretty quickly here. And I have some catching up to do on fielding these. So give me a second here while I read all this stuff. And we're going, let's see. Okay, what about lifetime disabled vet? Do we still have to have the turkey tag?
So it is a lifetime license, so it has the same benefits as a lifetime license. So that will cover your turkey tag or turkey license, what we call it now. So you're good if you have that lifetime vet license. Thank you for your service.
Yes. Isn't it list from 15 to 15? The dates? Nope, 16th to 16th.
Do we need to have a talk?
You have an officer on the call right now. Well, you're good. We're not to the 15th yet, so he's still safe.
Yep. No head starts.
Okay. I'm still waiting for questions. Man, we did a good job apparently. Ben Miller said, Bobby helped me get my first deer last December. He's referring to the Pofolk Outdoors. I can't say that right. But he's awesome. He's out in Western Oklahoma, and I love that he puts on hunts for people, that they're not trying to get the most massive trophy buck or, 12-inch beard on a turkey. It's just good quality hunts, and he's an educator and a teacher, and so he provides a lot of wealth of information when he does those hunts. It's one tom for spring and fall combined.
No, I believe I actually had to double check that as well. So according to our regulations, there's a spring bird and then there's a separate fall bird license. So it looks like you can get one in spring, one in fall.
Okay, someone said, don't forget to give the code word, and I'm so glad you said that. Okay, I'm gonna decide, if y'all were here for this, the two parts before this, you'll know that why this is funny, but I'm gonna say Forest Ninja is the code word. And if you guys remember what bird is a Forest Ninja, I'd be impressed. So you can send that too, which type of subspecies of turkey is a Forest Ninja. But yep, the code word is Forest Ninja. So game wardens don't mind us calling them for info. They do not. I'm gonna have him answer that.
So we get a ton of calls and we are absolutely happy to help with anything. If you ask us some silly questions, we might make fun of you though. No, I'm just kidding. Call us. Our numbers are public numbers. If you got a question, call us first. I would rather somebody call me, not know something, than me catch them in the field doing something wrong. And then I have to figure out if they're telling me the truth they didn't know, or they're lying to me and they were trying to do it, on purpose, just because I didn't think they'd get caught. So absolutely, if you got a question, call us. Now, we probably can't tell you where to go or what landowner to ask to get permission. We can't do that because unfortunately hunting land is very competitive now. But as far as regulations go, or just, even if you just have a general hunting question, I'm happy to help you with that.
Yes, and also the biologist on some of those WMAs will answer those questions as well. When I showed you the link, it'll share the hunting contact and the warden contact, and the hunting contact is the biologist on WMA.
And if we do not answer, just leave us a message. If you don't leave me a message, I won't call you back. But there's a lot of times I'm either out with somebody, I don't have service, or occasionally they even give us a day off. So if you don't get an answer, leave me a message or call one of the other numbers listed on my voicemail. We all have other game wardens listed on our voicemail, but if you can't get a hold of anybody, just leave a message. Somebody will call you back.
Oh, one thing we didn't cover that someone asked last week was, if you're going to look at aerials on public land, if you're trying to preseason scout and all you have is the aerials, what to look for when you're planning your hunt. So Jacob and I were going to kind of tag team this one. In Central Oklahoma, it's not really, you don't look at really topography as much as like openings and mature trees. Would you say in Roost Tree area?
So our state varies so much. It's kind of hard. So like here in Central Oklahoma, where I'm at, you could get some good idea, I would say, off an aerial map, but honestly, your best bet's just going to be go out there and look at it. You can kind of tell where some big trees are, maybe where a creek is, where a river is, that's normally where those big roost trees would be, kind of where some ag stuff is, but that stuff is just so, it's always changing. So the best thing you can do is just get out there. Now, if you get into, the eastern part of the state, or even way out west where there's a lot of terrain and stuff, a turkey's like any other animal. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So you can start looking for those saddles and any sort of pinch points or some sort of terrain feature that would push those birds one direction or another. But around here in Central Oklahoma, you're basically looking for roost trees and openings where they can strut. But that's so seasonal. You're better off going out there and looking on foot. But you can definitely get some good information from online.
Yeah, and also it's not like you'll know this online, but like freshly burned fields and stuff, those are great for turkey. They will be the first ones out there before the smoke clears, picking on all that good stuff over there. Chad, I wanted to ask you, do you have any input on this, on how to read for aerials?
No, I really don't. The best thing for information is just talking to people and scouting and looking around, and really talking to the locals is the best thing you can do. You might get steered wrong a little bit, but generally those folks will help you out if they can. But looking at aerials is, I I don't see where that's gonna help a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, that's a good point on talking to the
Okay.
landowners and stuff. I have to do a turkey survey every
Yeah.
year where we estimate the population, and I just call all my local farmers and kind of, I mean, they're out there all the time. I'm out there a lot, but they're out there, further in than I would be normally. So they have a good idea where those
Sure.
birds are.
Yeah, just talking to folks is probably the best thing you can do. Like I
And-
say, some folks might steer you wrong every now and then, but generally they're good people and they'll help you out.
Yeah, and get out there in the early mornings and evenings. You can park on the roads and stuff and just listen for birds too. Don't go on property you don't have permission to go on, but I mean, when they're gobbling, that's a pretty telltale sign there's a turkey around. So that's another good scouting
Yep.
tip.
Remember, we talked about
Well,
shot
and-
gobbling, so you can identify them, locate them that way. So don't, remember, build on that knowledge we talked about last week. You can use a crow call or an owl call or a coyote call to locate. They'll shot gobble for you and tell you where they're at.
Yep. That's and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, it's
It's
fun.
just
to
a
go out
lot
there
of fun.
and see the birds.
Just a lot of fun locating them.
yeah. Okay, I have some questions now. How would you recommend carrying out our bird after the hunt?
So the probably the safest way to do it is, some of these turkey vests now, they have a big pouch in the back that you can actually put those birds in, or just having a bag or something, you can cover it up. A lot of people like to take the pictures with the bird over their shoulder with their tail fan all spread out and stuff. But man, if there's other hunters out there, that looks like a turkey's walking around. So I would say the safest way is put it in one of those vest pockets or in a bag where it doesn't look like you're carrying the turkey around.
Absolutely. Get your pictures, put it in your vest. It will not mess the feathers up if you want to mount something or whatever. It won't hurt it a bit. They spring right back.
Okay. Is there anything else needed in license form for City of Tulsa property?
I am not aware of City of Tulsa property. You'd have to probably contact the local warden up there. I'm so far away from there. I'm just not familiar with it. So you might want to talk to somebody a little more local on that.
I definitely asked though. Is there a way similar to deer to see the turkey harvest for the state broke down by county?
I don't know if there is for the public. I'm not sure if we publish anything or not. I know we can get in there, the game wardens, we can get in that system and look at it, but I'm not 100% sure if they post that or not.
I don't know. That's something I'll
I
find
know,
out.
I know last weekend they posted all the youth birds that were checked in, but I don't know if it was by county.
Yeah.
But I know it was posted. I think it was like 292 birds got checked in last weekend
Yeah.
for the youth season.
And
One
that's
adult.
something. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I heard that one adult checked a bird in. I guess he's got some splaining to do.
I'm sure. But that's another thing, depending on what that game warden wants to tell you or not, that's an option. I have access to all that stuff. So if you're just real curious on it, I wouldn't have a problem sharing that information with somebody.
Okay. If you bust a roost when hunting Rio, how long will it be before they're comfortable roosting in the area again? I saw something about needing samples. Oh, that's a different one. Okay, so answer that question first.
So it really depends. I've seen people go bust birds off a roost and they're back there that night. And I've also seen it where those birds might move a mile away and they don't ever come back to it for the rest of the season. But it just kind of depends. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into that I can't really tell you from here. But you just kind of got to get out there and scout and see if they come back or not. But that's where that shot gobbling, trying to locate them, that comes in handy. I've gone out and located birds one night, come back the next morning, and they're in a completely different spot, a couple 100 yards away. I don't know what happened while I was gone, but something spooked them off there. They decided they didn't want to sleep there, and they moved a couple 100 yards. So that's one thing with turkey hunting. You always kind of got to be on your toes or be super patient and just wait in one spot.
Yeah. Chad, do you have anything to add to that on the Rios?
Nope, that's why they call it hunting. You're not gonna be
Not
successful
killing.
every time you go out. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
you just gotta play them the way they're gonna act. So, if they move, they move. You gotta hunt them where they're at.
Yeah, it also depends on how hunted these birds are, because we have a place out in Western Oklahoma where we ended up picking the wrong camping spot, and we camped we got back to our tent, and we were in the roost trees, and we could gobble and hear them all up in the trees, and they got a little spooked finally once we got our fire going, and they flew across the little creek that they had there, but I think they were back in there the next night, weren't
Yeah.
they? Yeah, they were back
Yeah,
in
they
the
came
same.
back in.
Yeah.
And we had a full-blown camp going under. We set up that afternoon because historically they roosted, a little ways further down the creek. Set up our camp that evening. We came back from doing a little scouting, and they were right on top of us.
The moonlight, you could see the outlines of the turkeys in the trees. You probably could have just slept in and shot one out of our tent, honestly. But we were like, we should probably go try to hunt, try. But that doesn't happen very often. But still, just depends on if they're hunted a lot or not. If they're spooked, they can be kind of dumb too if they have no idea about people or anything. So just going to depend on if you're talking about public land or private land that's not hunted very often too. Okay, it says, I saw something about needing samples for genetic research this year. Does anybody know if they're going to want these samples taken in Western Oklahoma? I think they want samples from everywhere. So.
Yep. I got 4 kits in the mail today.
Awesome. Okay.
Jacob, does that mean I can shoot 4 birds?
I don't think so. I don't think it quite works like that.
It's for science.
I was just kidding.
Not my county. I don't
was
know. You
kidding.
do what you want.
Okay, where do we find the rules and procedures for special permit areas, for instance, McCurtain?
So I am not sure on that. I'm going to kind of give you the same answer I've been giving you. I would contact somebody in that area, either the game warden or one of the biologists down there. Just get a hold of them. And, McCurtain is a long ways from Lincoln County. So just holler at them.
What are the special permit areas? So some of the biologists down there's Three Rivers, Honobi. Trying to think of some of the WMAs that you could at least get a hold of someone. Is that where the special permits would be as in the McCurtain County WMAs? If you could,
I'm not sure.
If you could type what special permit areas you're talking about, are you talking about the WMAs? Ooh.
Which one?
I've been hunting Oklahoma for about a year, still learning where you can hunt publicly. Is the ground marked USA in trust for Cherokee Nation? Okay.
This is Chad.
Oh, I'm sorry, go
I
ahead.
asked that question. I asked that question about the special permit areas.
Yeah.
Down there's two McCurtain areas. I think there's Lollipop. I can't remember the name of them all, but there is a special permit area, and you draw a tag, I guess. You put in for the special permit, get the tag, and you check in, then you go to a special area, designated area, and hunt it.
Now, is that under the controlled hunts, or is that a separate deal?
Yes, controlled hunt.
Okay, yeah, so you just put in for the controlled hunts then and qualify for that. But if it's something
But
I
they don't
just
really,
don't know.
Yeah, you just put in for it, but it doesn't really tell you, okay, you check in with a game warden beforehand, you go over there and hunt, then you check back in with them, tell them how many birds you saw. There's a lot of things to it. There's no specific. I don't know. There's nothing online about it.
Yeah, I know a lot of those controlled hunts, after you put into it, they will get a hold of you and kind of explain all that stuff once you get the hunt.
Draw.
But I think that's what you're talking about. I'm not 100% sure, but usually they'll get with you before the hunt and kind of explain to you the rules and stuff. Some of them even have a meeting that you have to go to before you can hunt in them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay.
Turkeys will always be related. So
The question is, turkeys will always be located by a water source, correct?
yeah, so that's, I would not say always. I would say that is a good spot to start. Usually your creeks, lakes, and stuff like that. That's normally where your bigger, better roost trees will grow just because there's more water there. But I wouldn't say always. I mean, I've seen some turkeys a long ways from water.
They go cottonwoods or where they like to roost.
Yeah, so we talked about this a week or so ago. Those birds fly down and they walk all day long. I don't know if they walk a mile or 10 miles, but they walk all day long and they will come across some water because they, of course, have to have it, but they definitely will not live and breed and spend all their time along a waterway.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, so the question is, I've been hunting Oklahoma for about a year now, still learning where you can hunt publicly. Is the ground marked USA and Trust for Cherokee Nation okay to hunt on?
So I'm not 100% sure. My first instinct is probably no, unless you have some sort of permission through the Cherokee Nation. So a lot like on Onyx maps and stuff, we get lots of questions on stuff marked like US government or, whatever Indian tribe it might be. And that is usually land owned and operated by the Indian tribe. So you would have to get permission from them. And a lot of times it's a trust property. So there might be 400 owners on that property. So I would say definitely do not just walk in there and start hunting. You're going to need to get permission from somebody that has the authority to give you permission to hunt on that. But that Onyx is tricky. I get that a lot because a lot of those places are just labeled government land or US trust land, or, even like the Turnpike Authority and stuff has land like that. And you can't just go hunt that stuff. You have to have permission.
And especially on tribal land or potentially tribal land, that's a whole other game. Okay, still waiting on any more questions that need to roll in. Are we able to hunt private lands within Oklahoma City limits?
So there is a city ordinance in Oklahoma City for firearms. So it would kind of depend on the situation. I know in most cases, you're not supposed to shoot a firearm in Oklahoma City limits. I would contact an Oklahoma City guy because Oklahoma City limits is absolutely huge. Me personally, I don't have an issue if you can safely shoot in those areas. I'm fine with that, but I'm not going to be the one getting you in trouble for that. That'll be an Oklahoma City officer for it's a city ordinance basically. But as far as hunting, especially with archery equipment, it's 100% legal if you're in Oklahoma City limits. But just there's some ordinances on firearms that you have to be careful of. And then you can, as far as public places or houses or stuff like that, you have to be careful there as well.
Yep. Okay. Just waiting for any more questions to roll in. We might be into this one pretty early. Does everybody?
Casey, you can certainly put my information back out there. If anybody wants to call or email or whatever, I'm open to talk with them.
Absolutely. We thank you, Chad, for that. Appreciate you attending all three of these and being on our little Q&A board.
Well, if I win the vest, just give it to somebody else.
I'll take it.
Do these
There you go.
discussions
You're
happen?
welcome to it.
Sorry, question here. Do these discussions happen often? This is the first one I have seen. Well, we typically like to focus it around turkey or a season, of course. So we did right before duck season, we did a waterfowl class. We did holiday antlerless classes. We did quail, upland game classes, and pheasant classes. So basically, if you know where you went to enroll for this, if you go check, I don't know if we'll be doing one anytime soon. I might do one over foraging because I just think that's cool. And that's just something that we'll be getting into when the seasons, the hunting season is dwindling down. But we might just check back on there. It'll always be something hunt and learn related. You can filter it out on that webpage. But yeah, we do them quite a bit, especially during hunting season. What is common fund school land? I see it a lot on Oklahoma.
So I get a
Onyx.
million questions on that too. So your school land is basically a program that we have across most of the state. I have a ton in my county, but that is land set aside, and they have a lease usually every 5 years where you can go in and put in for a lease for that, to lease that land for 5 years for hunting or cattle or anything like that. And then that money goes to benefit the local community and the schools. It's taken a big change lately. It's kind of a sad deal, really. Historically, that would be more of your cattle operations and stuff like that. They would run cows on the land. They'll usually give permission to somebody to hunt. Anymore, it's like any other land around here. We have so many people just leasing up this land just for hunting that most of your farmers can't afford to do it just to do cows. So I have a lot of non-resident guys coming in here leasing this stuff up like crazy, and they might not even hunt it, one time throughout the year, but they take up all that land that people could be hunting. But it's kind of a sore subject with me, but that's land that you do have to lease that to hunt it, or you can get permission from whoever has the lease on that to get permission to hunt that.
Patrick says, this is the first meeting I've been on. Any tips for locator calls, best time of day to do such? Patrick, I have these recorded, the first 2 series of this series recorded, and I'll send this recording out to everybody that was on this that was on the email chain. And you can view them, all 3 of them on there. It's on my personal YouTube channel until I can get permission to upload them on our wildlife department YouTube channel. But I just wanted to get them up for everybody as soon as possible, since we're winding down and season's about to start. For tips on locator calls, though, definitely in the evenings after the turkeys have gone to roost, you'll find them up in the trees, and a lot of times they'll shot gobble for you.
They will shot gobble at any point during the day. As far as scouting goes, usually early morning, late evening.
Yeah.
Figure out where those birds are, and you can use a crow call, owl hoot, hawk call, coyote haul. I mean, you can slam your car door in some places and it'll work for you, but it just kind of depends.
Yeah. And we went into that a little bit more in detail on that last call. So you can just rewatch that. And we went into lots of detail on calling, when to call, what kind of calls work, and everything. Okay.
Just a quick note, you don't want to try and do any locating using a hen call, because you'll educate those birds pretty quick, and they'll figure out real quick that that call is not there. They'll go looking for it, and if it's not there, they'll start ignoring your call.
Yeah, that's another thing I should probably touch on too. So I said, you can go out and drive the county roads and listen for gobbles and stuff. It is not illegal, but it's kind of one of those things. It's just for respect for other hunters. Don't be, using hen turkey calls when you're doing that, because you can educate those birds, and some people get pretty sensitive about that. So just be cautious. If you don't have permission there legally, if you're on the county road, there's nothing illegal that you're doing, but I would recommend not using hen calls and educating those birds. So make it harder on other hunters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Shane asked, do you ever conduct these classes for nonprofits? As in like these turkey educational classes? Of course, if you want to contact me personally, that's kind of what I do. I help people, help anybody that wants to get educated on a specific topic when it comes to hunting. I can help coordinate something like that. NWTF is a nonprofit, by the way. So we have a bunch of people that are doing outreach that we can come and teach a class if we need to, or at least host these recordings or something like that, or at least give you more information. So just if you have something in mind, Shane, just please shoot me an email and we can see what we can do to make that happen. You're going to talk about a gun-mounted call, the push-pull call. I don't remember what I was supposed to say about that, other than it's an alternative to a diaphragm call, and it's something that you can do on your own. It's a mounted. Is that what it's called? Push-pull call?
Yeah, friction call.
Yeah. Yep. And it's a little box with a little kind of like a stick through it, and you push it and it yelps. And so that's something that you can mount on your gun, and it's really easy to not make a whole lot of motion. If you're hunting by yourself and you don't know how to use a diaphragm call, it's the next best thing to that, for you to not have to make a lot of motion between having your gun mounted and pushing that push-pull call and calling. So yeah, that's really, I hardly ever me and my husband always turkey hunt together. It's kind of like our thing.
She's got a professional caller. so
Yeah,
she
he's
doesn't worry
pretty
about
good
it.
at that. So I just shoot the thing.
I don't think I've ever actually seen anybody using them. I have seen the calls and yeah, I definitely, I can see where they would be beneficial,
Oh, for
that
sure.
you could sit there and, not make enough movement to spook it, but you can still talk turkey to them a little bit.
Yeah.
Sweet talk them, get them in real close, but I can see where they would be
Yeah.
handy. I've
Yeah.
never used one, but
If you all are looking for a product, I guarantee you can find it. They make pot calls that you can mount on your knee. I mean, there's just the amount of products that you can buy for turkey hunting is endless.
yes.
It's absolutely endless.
Tim, did I cover your push-pull question, the gun mounted call? I couldn't quite remember what I was supposed to be talking about with that one, I'll be honest. Okay. Well, it looks like we might have, yes, and the funky chicken works. Yes, yes. Good, that's what you used. Hey, Tim, if you want to take like 2 seconds to tell, if you can unmute it and tell us a little bit about your hunting story, I'd love to hear it with your daughter. I love to hear the hunting stories anyway. So, and then we can wrap it up on a really positive note like that.
Yeah, well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, we went out Sunday morning and we didn't hear a single gobble. And we stayed till about 11 o'clock and we backed back out of there. And it was really hot Sunday.
Yeah.
But I told my daughter, we're going back out. It's the last day. We're gonna go back and try all day. And we went back out and it was about 1:20 in the afternoon when we got there, and we walked halfway back to where we were going to sit, and I did a locator call and heard one gobble. So we went quiet until we got to our spot and got set up and stuff, and then I did a pretty loud yelp call, and he gobbled back and was within 75 yards. And then I just worked real quiet purrs and clucks on a pot call. And within 15 minutes or so, he came around and I had the funky chicken behind a hen, and he puffed up and started drumming and went right past the hen and went face to face with that funky chicken and stopped there. And I guess stretched his neck out up like he was challenging him or something. And that's when Audrey shot and took him down. Clean kill.
Wow,
That's
that's
great.
amazing. Is
And
she
this was-
hooked?
Congratulations.
Wait, I was taking her to school Monday morning, and on the way, she's like, I wish I was turkey hunting.
I bet. That's
And
good.
this was the first time that I took her out. So first trip out, and she got a real nice gobbler.
So
Awesome.
were you on public land?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Altus Lugert, WMA.
Wow, that's awesome. But we love hearing success stories on public lands too, because I think there's this preconceived notion that you go to public lands and you're not going to have a successful hunt, or at least a fun hunt. And so we love hearing that. We have shot some good birds off of public land, so we're definitely believers in it, and it can be done for sure. I wanted to make a note. Rachel, I guess I sent it to everyone. Not everyone. Rachel asked, I'm just learning to hunt. I went on my first deer hunt with Chad at Wedo last year. So what resources do you recommend to learn more about turkey hunting in general? I'm going to send a link. I just sent it to everyone here. This is the Wildlife Department Hunting Resources page. That's kind of a page that I've built out that has lots of good information on it. And we also have the Wildlife Department, or the NWTF information too, that I believe I sent a link the first email, and I can send that again, all that information. I'll try to wrap this whole series up with a good informative email at the end. to give all you guys good links and stuff. But NWTF hosted and partnered with a class or a company called Calcami, and they do a really good turkey hunting course. You actually have to pay for it. It's like $35, but it's a good in-depth, thorough turkey hunting course. So if you want something a little bit more in depth than what we did here, that's definitely a good place to start. Yeah, that's probably between this page and NWTF's resources. That's probably the two that I would use here.
And YouTube, there's always
Oh, yeah.
information on YouTube. All you'd ever want to know and more. Some of it's even true.
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, it's good to hear from you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if I ever mentored you once, I'll mentor you for life. Give me a call.
There you
Shoot
go.
me an email.
The good thing is Chad's going to harvest. Sorry, Chad, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Good thing is Chad's going to harvest a bird in like the first day, and then he's going to have the rest of this turkey season to do nothing. So that's the one good thing about this one bird limit. You're going to have a bunch of bored turkey hunters out there that are going to be looking for someone to take. So
I'm going to hunt whether I'm tagged out or not. I'm going to take somebody, or I'm going to be hunting one way or the other.
absolutely. It's a good positive spin on it. Okay, well, I am going to get this. This is recorded right now, so I'm going to get this uploaded as soon as possible, hopefully by tomorrow, and I'll send out a link. And I'm going to, once you guys send me your code word, I am going to be as fast as possibly drawing those, and I will announce it. And we will either meet up, or I will send it to you in the mail as soon as possible to get that vest to you guys. I sure appreciate you guys tuning in for this. Hopefully most of y'all attended all three, and so kind of feel like got to know you guys a little bit. Hopefully you guys have a really good, successful season. And please, if you have any more questions, or if we can help out in any way, don't hesitate to email Chad or myself. Use your resources that I've been sending out. There's people there to help and want to teach. So once again, thank you. And thank you to my guest speaker.
Thanks, guys.
And I twisted his arm a little bit. And to Chad as well. We sure appreciate it. And yeah, I will get those turkey vests out and draw. So I'm excited. Get that code word into me. All right. Bye.
Have a good one, guys.